that in just seconds, the curtains will open and music will flood the stage. You have just one microsecond to make it all worthwhile. You've rehearsed for months, memorizing the movements, the lyrics, the monologues, everything, and it all comes down to this. The first step. The beginning note, the very first word. You have one chance to grab them and take them with you on this ride. You stand waiting, ready, with all this adrenaline, all this emotion building up inside of you. And the curtain groans open and light washes on stage. And there you stand, blinking in the spotlight. One chance, one minuscule moment, ready to shine. Now for many of you, this kind of pressure, getting up on stage in front of a crowd of people, might seem a little too scary to handle. But for young students all over the world, this kind of adrenaline is what they live for. It has been scientifically proven over and over again that the performing arts help to build confidence and important life skills in children all over. An article written by Fran Smith states, involvement in the arts is associated with gains in math, reading, cognitive ability, critical thinking, and verbal skills. Arts learning can also improve motivation, concentration, confidence, and teamwork. There are many different types of performing arts. These include the most common forms, dance, music, and theater, as well as a few other categories like opera, magic, and circus. Children as young as 2 years old become involved in performing arts. Now I want you to think back to kindergarten. I'm sure you had a music teacher that taught you how to count a rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something simple. T, T, ta, ta. We all remember it. And singing silly nursery rhymes. And think about gym class. I'm sure at least once in your life you had to play a game of freeze dance. And the music would blast really loud for about 2 seconds, and it would turn off, and everyone had to freeze, or you're out. And how many times did you have to write a short skit for a writing class, then get up and act it out in front of the whole class to see? This is how teachers everywhere are integrating their arts into their curriculums in elementary and middle school educations. However, recently, with the increased demand for high school-wide test scores, many public schools are cutting the arts programs from their curriculums, removing art classes and music classes, and all those classes that made going to school fun when you were little. And this is what's happening to hundreds of thousands of schools. Could you imagine never learning how to use a paintbrush, or even learning what an oil pastel is? Could you imagine never learning how to draw, never getting the opportunity to learn how to speak in front of your peers, never having the chance to discover if you can sing or not, and never knowing the freedom of dancing? If something isn't done soon, millions of schools will lose their arts programs, and children will never know how to express themselves in a creative way. In schools, music education was one of my favorite things. That's why I'm an advocate for it. I loved going to music class. It was that 30 minutes out of my day where I got to pick up a drum and bang on it as loud as I wanted to, and no one told me to stop. It was that time where I got to sing as loud as I wanted to, and no one told me to be quiet, sit down, read a book. Music classes give children that extra little bit of something that lets them express themselves. And building onto music classes, children then get introduced to instruments. And who knows, they might be a prodigy or something, but they'll never know if they never have the opportunity to pick up that instrument. And from picking up instruments comes choir. If they discover that they have a brilliant voice, they can join choirs and get scholarships and go on to build amazing futures. They can join orchestra and band, all that just builds more and more teamwork and a sense of accomplishment. And there's dance. I started dancing when I was 3 years old. Most children start dancing between the ages of 2 and 3. They'll get their first pair of ballet shoes, and they'll put on those little white stockings and leotards, and they'll look awkward, they'll pick at themselves in the mirror, but that's their first chance to learn left from right, to make friends, to learn what it feels like to fully be free and express yourself. And from ballet comes tap. We give little kids tap shoes, and they're not that big, and they have these little silver taps in the bottom of them. And they'll make a whole bunch of noise, and they'll slip and slide all over. But by the time they're 5 years old, they can perform a whole number on stage and remember the whole 2-minute dance from beginning to end without making a single mistake. And there's jazz. The chance to shine, to smile, to get on stage and wow people. And then we bring all those dances to competition. And we give children the experience to get up in front of stage, know that there are 5 judges standing there, and they learn how to make those judges smile, how to make those judges fall in love with the steps and the movement that they've already fallen in love with. And then there's theater education. Most theater programs start in 2nd grade. So these 7-year-olds are standing there on stage, nervous, rocking back and forth, not really sure what's going to happen. They get a piece of paper and then they're reading, and they're reading. And then it comes a chance where they put the paper down and they know it, and they say it, and they become it. And they put on that second skin and they become the silly character from the Dr. Seuss story. And they become the Shakespeare character, and they build, and they learn how to speak, and they learn how their words affect others, even if the words are written for them already. Confidence.